You won't believe what happened when Big Shaq, the infamous internet sensation and rapper, walked into a luxury car dealership for a brand new ride. It started like any other celebrity car buying experience. The flash, the glitz, and the excitement of getting your dream car. But what went down next was anything but ordinary. Big Shaq's encounter with the dealership manager quickly escalated from friendly banter to an explosive showdown that had everyone in the room stunned. If you think you've seen it all, think again. This story will make you rethink the way you look at celebrities and their interactions with everyday businesses. Big Shaq is known for his viral moments, from his legendary raps to his unfiltered personality. But behind the laughs and the hype, there's a side to him that not many have seen. This time, it wasn't just about the fame or the fortune. It was about getting what he wanted. And when the manager of the dealership didn't deliver, things took a wild turn. What was supposed to be a simple transaction turned into a confrontation so intense that it led to an unexpected twist. Big Shaq being physically thrown out of the dealership, kicked to the curb, literally and figuratively. You're probably wondering how something like this could even happen. How could a successful celebrity, with millions of fans around the world, find himself in a situation where he was not only disrespected, but physically removed by the very people he was trying to do business with? Well, the truth is, it wasn't just about a disagreement over prices or a few bad words. This was something deeper, something that goes beyond money or fame. As tensions rose, the manager of the dealership began to show an entirely different side of themselves. Someone willing to stand up and defend their ground, even if it meant losing a big sale. But what happened next after Big Shaq was kicked out is something you won't expect. What was his reaction to being humiliated in front of everyone? What did he do when the cameras stopped rolling and the situation seemed to have reached a dead end? You might think it's over, but Big Shaq's next move left everyone speechless. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around to find out what comes next. It's a moment that changed everything. Will Big Shaq let this embarrassing moment slide? Or will he come back with a vengeance, determined to settle the score and teach the dealership a lesson they won't soon forget? The stage is set, and the tension is thick in the air. Stay tuned to see how Big Shaq's story unfolds, because the next chapter is more shocking than you can imagine. So grab some popcorn and get ready, because you're about to witness a twist you won't see coming. Keep watching because the drama is just beginning. And trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. As the situation started to unfold, it quickly became clear that this wasn't just a simple customer service dispute. Big Shaq wasn't your typical celebrity. He wasn't about to just walk away when something rubbed him the wrong way. He's built his empire on standing out, speaking his mind, and making sure his voice was heard. And on that day, his voice was louder than ever. The dealership, known for its luxury cars and high-end clientele, had always prided itself on treating its customers like royalty. But what happens when that royal treatment is thrown out the window? From the moment Shaq stepped into the showroom, he was ready to make a deal. The dealership had all the cars he could dream of: sleek sports cars, luxurious sedans, and rare collectibles that made him feel like a king in a world of horsepower. But when he began to discuss the price with the manager, something shifted. It wasn't just about the car anymore. There was an unspoken tension in the air, a pressure that neither Shaq nor the manager could ignore. At first, the conversation was smooth. The manager, a middle-aged man with years of experience in handling VIP customers, tried to charm Shaq with talk of exclusivity, perks, and a promise of a special deal. But Big Shaq, ever the sharp businessman, quickly picked up on something that didn't sit right with him. There was no respect in the way the manager spoke. The promises didn't feel genuine, and the prices seemed inflated. As Shaq dug deeper into the details, it became evident that the manager was attempting to pull one over on him, thinking that his celebrity status would make him an easy target. What followed was a rapid escalation. Each word exchange became sharper, each moment more heated. The manager, perhaps realizing that Shaq wasn't the type to back down, grew defensive. His tone shifted from cordial to condescending. The once friendly negotiation quickly spiraled into something much more personal. Shaq, never one to shy away from confrontation, stood his ground, refusing to accept being treated like a lesser customer despite his fame and fortune. He wasn't just fighting for a good deal anymore. He was fighting for his dignity. By this point, the tension in the room was palpable. Employees who had been quietly working in the background began to take notice of the scene unfolding. Whispers spread like wildfire through the showroom. Some felt uncomfortable, others entertained by the spectacle. But everyone knew something big was about to happen. Shaq wasn't going to let the manager's condescending attitude slide. And then, as if the universe was aligning itself to push this conflict to its breaking point, the manager made a move that sent everything over the edge. With a dismissive wave, he told Shaq he wasn't interested in making a deal. His words were sharp, almost mocking, as if his position in the dealership made him untouchable. "Maybe you should try somewhere else," he said with a smug grin, clearly underestimating how much this would infuriate Shaq. Big Shaq's face, usually so calm and composed in the public eye, shifted. His eyes locked onto the manager's, and the atmosphere in the room became charged with a raw, palpable energy. Every person in the showroom held their breath. For a moment, it seemed like time had frozen, and all eyes were on the two men. Shaq, in that instant, wasn't just a rapper or an internet sensation. He was a man who felt disrespected and ready to stand up for himself, no matter who was on the other side. With a clenched jaw, Shaq stood up from his seat and took a step closer to the manager. His voice, low but filled with intensity, cut through the tension like a knife. He wasn't threatening violence, but the heat in his words was undeniable. "You don't get to treat me like that," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, but carrying the weight of years of built-up frustration. "I don't care who you are or what you think this is. You've got to show some respect." The manager, already on edge, couldn't take the challenge to his authority. His posture stiffened as he gestured for the security team to step in. But before anything could be done, things took an even darker turn. With a sudden motion, the manager snapped, telling Shaq that it was time for him to leave. His words were harsh and final, not leaving room for negotiation. The deal was off, and with that, the manager made his move, ordering security to escort Shaq out of the dealership. The energy in the showroom shifted again, and what had started as a confrontation of words became physical. Shaq, though visibly angry, didn't back down. He was pushed, but not before snapping back at the manager with a biting remark that echoed through the showroom. It was in that moment, as the security team closed in, that the crowd realized just how far this had gone. Shaq wasn't just a celebrity being thrown out of a dealership. He was a man standing up for what he believed was a matter of principle. As the scene unfolded, many wondered, was this the end of the story, or was Shaq about to do something even more unexpected? With the crowd around, the tension was at a boiling point. What could he possibly do after being humiliated in such a public way? Would he simply walk away and let the manager have the last word? Or would he take matters into his own hands and turn the tables? The dealership manager might have thought that Shaq was finished, that he had won. But little did he know, Big Shaq's next move was about to make the whole situation explode in a way no one could have predicted. As the security team closed in on Big Shaq, the atmosphere in the dealership became a whirlwind of whispers and anxious glances. The crowd that had gathered around the scene was waiting for something, anything, to happen next. Everyone thought they had seen the end of the confrontation. The manager, standing with a smug expression, believed that Shaq would just walk away, head held low, defeated. But that's not the Shaq the world knows. Shaq, despite being physically escorted toward the door, stopped in his tracks, his eyes locked with the manager's once more. It was in that moment, standing at the threshold of the dealership, that he did something no one expected. He pulled out his phone. For a brief moment, there was silence. The crowd that had been anxiously watching the situation now held their breath, unsure of what was coming. Then, with a confident smirk, Shaq turned the camera on himself. "Guess what, guys?" Shaq said, his voice carrying the weight of someone who had just made a bold decision. "You don't get to mess with me and get away with it." With the camera still rolling, he turned to the manager and spoke directly to him, his tone cool, but with a sharp edge. "The whole world's gonna see how you treat your customers. And this isn't just about me. It's about anyone who walks through that door thinking they'll be treated like royalty and ends up humiliated." The manager, realizing the full extent of what was happening, took a step back, his confidence faltering. The viral moment Shaq had just created wasn't something the dealership could simply brush off. This wasn't just a celebrity ranting. It was a calculated move to make the world aware of the way they had been treated. Shaq didn't just let the situation end in embarrassment. He turned it into a powerful statement. What followed next was a whirlwind of calls, messages, and social media posts. Within minutes, the video of Shaq speaking out went viral. It wasn't just a celebrity rant. It was a moment of accountability. The manager, realizing that his actions had gone too far, quickly found himself at the center of a media storm. The dealership's reputation took a hit, and people began to question the way they treated their customers, especially high-profile ones like Shaq. As the video continued to circulate, something unexpected happened. People came forward, sharing their own experiences with the dealership, stories of rude behavior, inflated prices, and a lack of respect for their clients. Big Shaq's simple act of standing up for himself became a catalyst for change, sparking a larger conversation about customer service and the treatment of people, no matter their status. It was a wake-up call for businesses everywhere that treating customers with respect wasn't just a courtesy. It was essential for success. But the real shock came when Shaq, just days after the incident, received an unexpected call. The dealership's owner, embarrassed by the backlash and the damage to their reputation, offered him an apology. They not only wanted to make amends, but also invited him back with a personal, exclusive offer on a car, no strings attached. Shaq, ever the businessman, agreed to meet with the owner, but this time on his own terms. He didn't let the apology smooth things over. Instead, he used it as a chance to ensure that the dealership would truly change its ways. The story had come full circle. What had started as an embarrassing confrontation had turned into a powerful moment of public accountability. Big Shaq hadn't just walked away. He had used his platform to shine a light on something larger than himself. The lesson: never underestimate someone's resolve, especially when they're fighting for respect. It's a story that reminds us that no matter who you are, celebrity or not, you deserve to be treated with dignity, and if you don't get it, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Shaq's next move? It wasn't about the car anymore. It was about making sure that what happened to him didn't happen to anyone else. In the end, the manager may have thought he was in control, but Big Shaq showed the world that no one is above accountability. The dealership may have gotten the last word on paper, but Shaq had the final say on the internet. And that, my friends, was something no one could take away from him. The saga of Big Shaq and the dealership manager didn't just end with a car deal. It ended with a reminder that integrity, respect, and standing up for yourself can go further than you think.